Hey, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here to bring you a video on my constantly ongoing project of figuring out where I'm putting food in my house, because I don't have a dedicated cellar or a pantry that is big enough to even go like that in and like turn around. My pantry, I think, is like, my pantry is smaller than my closet, and my closet is really small. Okay, so anyway, that tells you about kind of our storage situation here. And being where we live, it's extremely hot for a huge portion of the year. Outdoor storage options are just not available to us. So literally every bit of food that we put up has to be inside of our house. So that is a lot of what's going on right now, where I am kind of realizing that, and I had this epiphany that storage inside the house needs to be dedicated only to food, and storage outside of the house can be dedicated to things that are not food. So that's kind of where I am right now, and that is the strategy that I'm working with. So in this video, we are taking this entire shelf of books, which I suddenly looked up the other day and was like, why are you here in this place where I could put a whole bunch of beautiful home canned goods? And so that's where this video was born. So if you would like to see more videos like this showing, you know, kind of what we're doing, even though it might not work exactly in your space, it could possibly give you some ideas. Like even just that little revelation that I had. Indoor space is for food, outdoor space is for everything else. So even if just that helps you, then it was worth it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and work on clearing this off and show you what we've got. Like, I don't know, show you where everything's going. I don't know. This is like the 18th time I'm filming this. I've already eaten a whole bunch of mango, trying to figure out what I'm saying, drinking my water. Like we gotta move on with it. It is what it is. All right, we're gonna go with it. Okay, so here is the shelf. We've got a whole bunch of old like journals and planners, and so much of this is stuff that is like writing from when I was a teenager that I wanted to keep, and then certain other things. So like this is a thing that is not going to go outside because it's polymer clay, and if it gets hot it'll start baking in the package, so that needs to stay inside. So basically there isn't like, you know, it's not 100%, but this is what we're working with. This is all of my curated collection of craft books and stuff and things that I've purged many times, but these I have decided to keep. And so we're gonna get those out into a cabinet in the garage that Adam says is clear and ready for these things to go into. So I'm gonna go ahead and go look at that right now. Okay, here's the cabinet. Awesome. It is mostly clear and down low too, and so I think I might only actually need this top portion for my books. And so basically Adam and I are working in concert right now. He is getting rid of stuff in the garage and making room, and I am kind of, once he sort of makes me space, I'm moving stuff out into the new space. And there's also definitely places where I am working, and I guess I could show a little bit of that too. But we're just getting everything set up. We're donating as much as we can of kind of extraneous things. Even though we are people who try our hardest not to collect extraneous things, it's incredible, like seriously incredible, the sheer amount of stuff that we still have. So we are working through that and just trying to make really, you know, good choices about how we store it, and trying only to store and have the things that are really important, like food. Okay, so there we go. It took less than 10 minutes traversing the entire house, one little pile at a time. Obviously it's not a huge pile, but yeah, I feel super accomplished. All right, so a couple things, like I mentioned, my polymer clay is going to stay inside because it's heat sensitive. And then also I found a big stack of beeswax sheets from back when I used to make candles by rolling instead of dipping, like way back in the day. These were shoved behind the books. These are so old. I mean, they probably got squished. I don't know. We'll see. It made junky candles anyway, but we'll see if there's something to do with that. But yeah, those are not going to go out to the garage because they would probably melt. But other than that, we now have an empty shelf. Super excited. So yes, I'm about to go ahead and move some home canned goods up onto that shelf. Yay! So that seems much more reasonable to me. Sorry about the terrible lighting. But yeah, we've got all kinds of canned goods, home canned goods up here, and they are stacked all the way to the back. Or not stacked, they are stored all the way to the back. And this is, I believe, the entirety of my own personal home canned goods, at least for now. Now I have canned and then open jars in use. This is not all I've ever canned, but this is what we currently have. And yeah, I'm super proud and excited and hopefully going to extend this much further. And someday maybe I will take you through every single one of the jars and tell you exactly what they are. A couple of things, I guess I will now. Pumpkin from my garden. So there's some jars here that are canned pumpkin that I grew, and then some are butternut squash from the store. And then there's a bunch of jams and stuff from like blackberries we got on sale. So much blackberry jam. But these two, I'm super proud, are our last two remaining sorrel jam from our garden, from hibiscus that I grew. So anyway, those are the things that I would like to note, just because those are super extra cool because they're from stuff I grew. So yay, that was pretty fast. And just as a quick safety thing, and this is not a video on canning safety. I can do another video at some point on that. But, well, first of all, yay, the shelf is now canned goods instead of books. I feel so proud. And just happy. So it's like little changes like this. So this is not even the only change that we've ever made. Like, I'm glad also because a lot of this was under our bed. And I want to free the bed for more jar storage. So under our bed, like right here, is where we keep all of our jars. You know, actually, let me go show you that too. You're just getting into all of the nooks and crannies of our house. But yeah, this is jar storage now. So this is another one of those places where Mr. Vegan Prepper, and then these things used to be where we actually had the jams, but I just want to have more room for the actual jars. But also this was like, this empty box was full of all the potatoes that I canned, and we only have 5 jars of that left. And then just more jars over here. And so it's just, yeah, another example where like, what are you gonna do when you don't have a dedicated space to this stuff? You figure out and dedicate your own space. So this entire bed is full of jars. So we figured out that the quart-sized jars, hold on, I'm crawling now. The quart-sized jars fit under the bed in their boxes, and then save the boxes because then they're like little drawers. You can pull stuff out. And yeah, it works really well. So maybe that would work for you guys. And so kind of in keeping with the indoor storage only for food, I might change this philosophy and put home canned goods under here again, and not just empty jars. But yeah, I don't know. Where else am I going to put the jars? I have to figure that out. So yeah, we're still working it out. It's definitely a work in progress. Okay, I kind of can't believe I'm living a life right now where I'm taking video underneath my bed and posting it for public view. Like, it just seems strange. But anyway, I know that that probably seems like a lot of jars, but it's really not for the amount of home canning I want to start doing and the amount of food storage I want to start doing. And again, a lot of it looks like hoarding, or it looks like too much. Like, people look at some people's pantries and think, how could you possibly need that much food? But when you start to realize that people are putting up food for an entire year sometimes, especially if they're growing their own food and they are not relying on the grocery store, that actually requires a lot of food. So if you think, if you use even, you know, say, let's say like diced tomatoes, like I'm switching from diced tomatoes to tomato paste, like, oh, that's my tomato paste, because it takes up so much less room. But if you could understand the sheer amount of tomato paste that I go through, also it's way cheaper. And again, I just, like I said, we go through so much between all the Mexican and Indian food that we cook. And this looks like an insane amount of tomato paste. It looks crazy. But if I want to put up enough to have a year's worth of, you know, Mexican and Indian meals for my family, it's not enough. Like, this is not enough yet. And so you start thinking about that kind of food storage where you are no longer relying on the grocery store to store that food for you. Even if I use only 2 cans of diced tomatoes a week, which I would use way more than that, but I just used 2 cans of diced tomatoes in one meal the other day. So for our family, but that would be what, 104 cans of diced tomatoes for a year's worth of food. And say, hey, let's go back to only 3 months. That's still like what, 24 cans of diced tomatoes. So you see, like when you start extrapolating, multiplying it out over time, it ends up being like a much larger quantity than you really think of at first. So even just think for yourself right now, is there an item in your life that you find yourself using constantly or buying a lot of at the store? Think about how much you use that in a week and then multiply that by a year to see how many you would need to buy to have stored for your family for, you know, emergencies, be it external, you know, crazy weather emergencies like what we've seen happen in Texas, or crazy viral emergencies like what we have seen over this last entire year in our world, or even very personal emergencies like the loss of a job, or, you know, a sudden illness, a sudden cancer diagnosis, and suddenly needing to, you know, whether it's you or a relative, or suddenly needing to spend a lot of your time driving somebody to and fro from chemo or whatever, and you need to have some easy stuff to cook on hand, you know, and to be able to take that time to be with a loved one, and not have to worry about adding a grocery shopping trip to that, you know. So like even with us, like with my mom in December of this last year, I lost my mom. And so she died in that whole last month. It was a very quick decline, and we spent a ton of time, driving like 20 miles to go be with her almost every single day. And so being able to have food on hand and not have to worry very much about going to the grocery store because of how much I already had on hand, like it was a huge load off of my mind. And then not having to go to the grocery store while I was going through that, right? And be in public in front of people while I'm dealing, you know, with all of this kind of sadness in my life. And so very personal example, of course, but like, I mean, just talking about stuff like that just happens in life. There are so many reasons why having a large store of food on hand would be an amazing thing for you. So it is something, again, that just sort of takes time. You sort of figure it out little by little, piece by piece, move by move, little Tetris game by little Tetris game in your house. And in your, you know, one closet now, a shelf is home canned food. And then underneath the bed is all of the jars, which again, I don't feel like it's enough. And I'm remembering why I also store them inside, because I don't want the seals to get ruined in the heat outside the house. And then also because I'm going through those jars and washing them so they're ready for me when I decide I do want to start canning them. And so if I have a canning project, I can just can without having to worry about washing jars. And so I don't really want to store them outside without lids. I know you can technically store them upside down, or what. I don't want to deal with that right now. So I'll just keep them under the bed. And then if it ever gets real and I like seriously need that space for food storage, then of course I'll just, you know, bite the bullet and put them out there and figure it out. But for now, it's okay for me to have them under the bed. So anyways, just some little things to think about. Sorry that I started talking at the end. I always do. I just want to be encouraging. That's really why I'm here. It's why I'm making these videos, is because I want to encourage people. There are so many wonderful reasons to kind of fall back on that age-old wisdom of storing up your food. It used to just be something that people just did, you know, and now our homes are no longer equipped for us to do it. So we end up looking crazy because we have to try to find places to store food, and you look like you're insane. But when you think about all of the reasons why storing food is actually like totally not, you know, there's like the reasons, especially like what I just shared, like with my mom, it doesn't even have to be some like worldwide or even some crazy weather event for it to be, you know, a huge comfort to have stuff on hand. And like even, yeah, driving out, I was able to bring like one of the canned soups I had up here. I canned some soup and I was able to bring soup out, and I was able to bring out food and cook it where we were, and you know, make meals for people at the same time. So it was like, not only was it good for us, it ended up being good for some other people too. So anyway, I guess that's it. I'm going to stop talking about it, but just encourage you. Every little step matters. Every little step is significant. You would not believe the tiny steps that we started with. The steps that we started taking were so tiny. And now her lives are so utterly changed, I think ultimately for the better. And so, yeah, I just feel like it's a really meaningful thing that has helped us in many ways. And so I'd like to share that information with other people and encourage you and hopefully normalize it a little bit. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off now so that the video doesn't get too long, but thank you so much for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe. It really helps YouTube algorithms, and we'd like to be able to be out putting out some good content as much as possible, hopefully better content as the years go on and as we end up having more time to do that. And because there's definitely a lot of stuff going on right now that makes it hard to make videos. But you know, we're just kind of moving through it as much as we can. But yeah, go ahead and comment, like, subscribe. Thanks again for watching. And as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. I really mean that. You know, it's really in our choosing whether or not life stays wonderful. Despite the outside circumstances that happen, you know what? Life is just still so good. There are blessings to be found in every day. So anyway, all right, I guess that's all. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye. Good job. Thank you. Hi, it's Kathy the Vegan Prepper here with my sweet little camera assistant, Sage, and I am hoping to bring you some awesome content today, which I don't know if it's actually awesome, but I think it can be pretty awesome. I am currently doing some rearranging to fit some more preps into my closet back here, and it occurred to me that maybe something like that is something that would be helpful, because I know a lot of people struggle with where to store food, which is not our fault, right? Because our houses are no longer set up for food storage. And so if I can manage to get my orders done and get this cutie to finish her food and maybe sit down and watch a show or something, I will hopefully get some more of that organization done. And I'm realizing I probably shouldn't even be using this intro because, oh my gosh, Sage. But thank you for pushing the button.
I Sage video.
It's Sage video. Is it Sage the Vegan Prepper? Ah. Okay, I guess push the square. Can you push the square?